So far, it's been a year to remember for the Athletics. They are off to their best start in 25 years. They're scoring runs at a record pace. And again, they play every game with a never-say-die attitude. Yesterday, after a walk-off win on the 4th of July, the greatest fireworks came thereafter. The front office made a statement pulling off a blockbuster trade, acquiring 2 frontline starters from the Chicago Cubs for prize prospects. Jeff Samardzija and Jason Hamill are now Oakland Athletics, and the message is clear. The green and gold are all in, and the push for the postseason is on. Saturday Night Baseball coming up from the O.co Coliseum. It's Game 3 of the series, and so far the A's have been able to keep the big bats of the Blue Jays quiet. And we'll see if Scott Kazmir can continue to do that tonight. It is Game 3 of the 4-game series. It's the Toronto Blue Jays and the Oakland A's, and you'll see tonight's game right here on Comcast Sportsnet, California. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball, along with Shooty Babbitt. I'm Glenn Kuiper. Well, after last night's game, or yesterday's game, the A's kind of shocked the baseball world, but maybe we should have expected Billy Beane to do some magic, and he definitely did. The trade, the A's get Jeff Samardzija and Jason Hamill, a couple of big, tall right-handers, both guys with ERAs under 3 this year. The A's give up Russell, McKinney, and Straley. And right now, the A's have to be thrilled. And if you're an A's player, you got to be feeling awfully good about getting these 2 pitchers because they're both having great seasons.
Well, Glenn, when you say shocked, I mean, the only thing that I'm shocked about is that people are shocked that Billy Beane acted. I mean, he acted so quickly that he got one of the top pitchers that was available on the market. With the exception of David Price, you couldn't even dream of having a better pitcher to add to your rotation right now. Jeff Samardzija is a power guy. And Jason Hamill, let's not discount how important this kid is. Every year he's mentioned in trade potential for partners of all teams because his stuff is so good. He just has been able to stay healthy and continue to put up the type of innings. Well, guess what, Glenn? He's healthy now, and he's pitching very well.
Now, tonight's game has a marquee pitching matchup. It's Scott Kazmir, Mark Burley, 2 guys who very easily could be all-stars this year.
Well, we know how great Scott Kazmir has been. We're talking about a kid with 9 victories right now. 1 more, and you're talking about being halfway to 20. And when you win 20 games in this league, you're considered to be Cy Young caliber. Well, Mark Burley, 38th round draft pick, multiple all-stars, multiple gold gloves, touching 87 miles per hour on an average Major League fastball being 90. That only tells you how good he's been. What a great matchup of 2 top left-hand pitchers.
Well, yesterday on the 4th of July, it took the A's 12 innings, but as they usually do in extra innings, they won it. Nick Punto down the left field line. That would score Derek Norris with a little help from Melky Cabrera. So the A's tonight will try to make it 3 in a row over the Blue Jays.
Sportsnet California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box for the new Jalapeno Ranch or Barbecue Ultimate Cheeseburgers at participating restaurants. And by Toyota, #1 in MPG, durability, and resale value. Toyota, let's go places.
So we're just about set for baseball. Game 3 of the series between the A's and the Blue Jays. Scott Kazmir takes the hill tonight for the Athletics, and let's check out the game time weather. It's presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. Nice night, 70 degrees at the O.co Coliseum. Lots of pitching in this series so far, and interesting because it's two very good offensive teams, but pitching has been the story in the first 2 games of the series. Let's look at the Blue Jays lineup for tonight. Same 4 up front: Reyes, Cabrera, Batista, Encarnacion. And then it's Navarro, Rasmus back in there, Glenn in right, Francisco's at third, and Kawasaki is the second baseman.
Tony Bunk for the A's tonight. Scott Kazmir with a very nice record of 93 with a 2.61 ERA. The one thing that Scott Kazmir has been all year long, and that is consistent, finding a way to explore the weaknesses of the opponents, and he's been doing a great job of that.
So Kazmir is ready, and so is Jose Reyes. And we are set for baseball. Kazmir kicks, and the first pitch of the game is a touch outside. Kazmir with the 5th best ERA in the American League. He's got a complete game this year. Jose Reyes comes in hitting .258 with 6 home runs, 23 RBIs. Reyes in this series is 1 for 10. And that one's up the middle, and that's a base hit. Jose Reyes, he led off yesterday's game with the base hit, and he does the same thing tonight. Defensively for the Athletics, looks like this: Gentry, Crisp, and Vogt in the outfield. Donaldson, Lowry, Callaspo, Fryman on the infield. And Norris is your catcher. So Melky Cabrera steps up. Cabrera, .297 with 11 home runs, 43 RBIs, and he shoots one foul right side. Cabrera in this series is 1 for 8. Second most hits in the American League behind Jose Altuve. And that's going to be a little flip job, and it's going to drop. Reyes gets to second, peeks over his shoulder, and he's going to go to third. So first and third, nobody out.
Well, Glenn, early on, we see that this game definitely has a different look than the past couple of days. The A's have been able to keep the leadoff hitters, top of the order guys, off the base pad, but right away Jose Reyes starts out with a base hit. Melky Cabrera gets a fastball up that's not very well located. Even though Scott Kazmir gets him in on the barrel a little bit, he's able to muscle out to right field.
So first and third for Batista. And Shooty, in this series coming into tonight's game, these top 4 hitters, which we've talked about, maybe the best 1, 2, 3, 4 hitters in the American League. Maybe Reyes, Cabrera, Batista, Encarnacion. 5 for 34 in this series, those 4 guys, and the 2 big hitters, 3 for 16. So there's your reason why they've only scored 1 run in 21 innings in this series. I mean, listen, nothing against 5 through 9, but this lineup needs damage done by the top 4 guys.
And for me, Glenn, all it says is that old cliche about great pitching stops great hitting. We've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, no question. I mean, this right here is a big rally for the Blue Jays in this series. First 2 games, 1 run on 14 hits, 12 singles and 2 doubles.
Well, we talked about when Batista has come up in the series that it's been basically with 2 outs and nobody on or leading off an inning. this is not where you want to see him when he can help the other team put up crooked numbers.
That one tapped foul. Runners in scoring position against Scott Kazmir, 127. How about that?
Well, you have always heard me say the great attribute of a pitcher is to be able to limit the damage.
Wow.
That is an indication that he has definitely been able to do that.
Yeah, he's almost eliminating the damage. 1-2 to Batista. Fouled straight back. Pretty good swing there by Batista. 95 miles an hour.
Well, one thing that Scott Kazmir has shown, when he needs to go and get that plus fastball, in which he came in the league with, he can do that. But also he's shown that he's able to take off, and I think that's what's been so good for him this year.
Reyes inching down the line at third. And that's a changeup that's not close, 2-2.
When you see Scott Kazmir throwing 95 miles an hour, to me, he's kind of come out of his element a little bit. I mean, his fastball's been up in the zone a little bit. You see the changeup is not located where he wanted it, and that's been one of the great things about him. Location has been extremely accurate for him.
Reached for a little pop-up. It's going to be a tough play. Callaspo out, and Callaspo makes an over-the-shoulder catch, and Reyes doesn't tag. Reyes wasn't even back to third to bluff. He was 2 steps off the bag, and then he just nonchalantly walked back to third base.
I find this very alarming for a base runner of Jose Reyes' caliber. When an infield is running with his back to the infield, even if he makes this play, it's going to be very difficult for him to turn around and pivot and make an accurate, firm throw. And with Jose Reyes' speed, if he tags up there, I mean, maybe Sean Dunston, if he was still playing, that he might be able to throw Reyes out at home plate, but not Alberto Callaspo.
No idea what Reyes is doing. He's going to score even if he's standing at third and the ball falls in. So a nice play by Callaspo over the shoulder. And here's Edwin Encarnacion. Big swing by Encarnacion, fouled it straight back.
What makes the third base coach's job so difficult is that a lot of times you want to just go out there and grab a player and pull him back because you know where he should be. But when you don't have the ball behind you, when the ball is in front of you as a base runner, you are the base coach.
That's a good call. 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, 0-2.
This is one that Scott Kazmir kind of pulled out of his back pocket. Everyone's been talking about the great changeup that he's added to his repertoire this year, so you really don't go up there looking for a slider or a cut piece. Great pitch down in the zone. And I'm going to show you a little trickery also, Glenn. I'm going to show you I can quick pitch also.
Yep, he's done that before.
Crafty lefties. Before a hitter can get set, a guy that has rhythm in his hands, oh, before you know it, fastball's over.
Encarnacion not happy with the quick pitch. It's like Miguel Cabrera was not happy with it in Detroit. 0-2 pitch, check swing inside.
Guy with very strong wrist to be able to hold up right there. That just shows you how strong Encarnacion really is.
Tap slowly to short. Lowry has it, shovels to second for one, back to first. Not in time. And Encarnacion tumbles past the bag. And the training staff shoots out of the dugout quickly. Bob Melvin's going to come out and have a chat with the umpire, but Encarnacion passed the bag and he went down. So as of right now, the run comes in to score. Encarnacion was able to beat the throw, but Bob Melvin checking in the dugout and the Blue Jays checking on their first baseman. Well, that's not good.
Well, In baseball lingo, they say it looks like a sniper might have gotten him, and normally that's the hamstring that normally blows out, in which the way that Encarnacion pulled up, because, boy, you're somewhat paralyzed on that side of your body when you do pull a hamstring. And when it's a quad, it's a little different reaction. But here, you know, opening up the game early on, you may not really be as loose as you might be later on in the game. First thing you have to do, the first move that you make is has to bust out of the box and try to beat out a ball to keep from staying out of a double play. Encarnacion, who's very thick in the legs here, his reaction is hamstring.
So it looked like on the replay that he did beat the throw, and Bob Melvin has gone back into the dugout, but major concern for really the heart of the batting order in Encarnacion for the Blue Jays. See, the trainer, it's like reaching behind that right knee. I'm not saying knee, I'm just saying he's
in that
area. That lower hamstring area as well.
I don't know if you've ever pulled a hamstring, Glenn, but I have. And it's one of the most painful injuries that you can endure. You don't know how painful and how hurt you are until you start making different types of movements to where you have to stretch that hamstring. And that's not good. When you can't walk off on your own, there's some extensive damage to that leg.
Well, that right there is about the last thing the Toronto Blue Jays want to see. Really their best hitter being helped off the field. So that's unfortunate.
When I see Encarnacion, I can only think about Yoenis Cespedes and the way that the A's have handled him. A guy who has big legs. Ricky Henderson had big legs. These guys have track legs, and the hammy and the quad are muscles that you really have to be careful as far as protecting them. And the way that the A's have protected Yoenis, whenever he's had some slight tings or twings with his legs, I think they've been proactive, and I think that's what's been great to keep him on the field, because you know how important he is to this lineup. Encarnacion has been one of the most potent offensive players in all of baseball, not alone just the Toronto Blue Jays, but in all of baseball. And you just hate to see that for them because, like you said, Glenn, he means a whole lot to this ball club.
So the Blue Jays will get a runner out there, and obviously whoever it is will take over at first base. The hitter is Diana Navarro. A run is in as Reyes came in to score. So Encarnacion gets an RBI, his 70th on the play, and there's Adam Lind, who we figured that's who it would be.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen, for Toronto, running for Encarnacion, number 26, Adam Lind. Now batting, number 3, Diana Navarro.
So Lind is the new runner. He'll be the new first baseman. Here's Navarro, the switch hitting catcher, and he lines one foul. The Blue Jays already playing without Brett Laurie, a broken hand. Fouled straight back by Navarro.
One graphic that was flashed earlier on in the inning is the number that Scott Kazmir has as far as pitching with runners in scoring position. What will be lost here is that he was able to perfect a perfect ground ball double play that wasn't turned, and unfortunately for the A's, a run will be scored in that situation.
And swing and a miss, goes to the backstop, right back to Norris, who flips to first. Side retired. So a run on 2 hits for the Blue Jays. Bottom of the first coming up. handshakes all around, and that is the newest Oakland A, Jeff Samardzija. So he's being shown his way to the clubhouse by Director of Team Travel Mickey Morabito. And it's got to be kind of a whirlwind for Jeff Samardzija. A lot going on, busy 24 hours, but his first step inside the A's clubhouse as a member of the Oakland A's. So Samardzija is here, and that's exciting. And he is scheduled to start tomorrow afternoon for the A's. So get right back to work, big fella.
Someone asked me, how quickly do you think he might get here? I said he may fly with his Cub uniform on.
Well, the Cubs were in Washington. So, made a quick pit stop in Chicago. And now, Jeff Samardzija is here. So that's exciting. Jason Hamill, the other part of the trade, I believe is scheduled to get here tomorrow. So Coco Crisp falls behind 0-2 to Mark Burley. Now it's tough. You get traded in the middle of the season. It's always tough. But then if you're on the road, it's even more difficult. You'd like to get home and pack up a few things, but you also want to get to your new team.
Well, conditions always dictate the toughness. You go into a winning team, you can't wait to get out of there.
That's true. Bouncer to Francisco. And that's out number 1. So let's look at the A's lineup for tonight. So Coco Crisp, Gentry is up, then Cespedes, who will DH, Donaldson, Norris, Fryman, Lowry, Callaspo, and Vogt.
You want to define dependability? Well, the workhorse out here, 447 consecutive starts without a stint on the DL. That is the longest active streak among active pitchers. Mark Burley, quick worker. The Oakland A's have to be ready to go out the gate.
First pitch to Gentry, a bit outside. No messing around with Burley. That one drops in for a strike. Gentry hitting .273 with 4 RBIs. So 2-1 to Gentry. Jeff Samardzija is just now entering the press conference room. They're going to have a press conference in just a matter of moments. And you know what? We're going to go to that press conference and watch the ball game and listen to Jeff Samardzija. And here it is.
I didn't learn about it. Just I got a text from Theo just saying, hey, we should probably talk, and some new happenings going on. And he wanted my opinion on some things. Which I took as, probably start getting ready to go. So, I mean, it wasn't a surprise understanding all the talk that happened in the offseason and first half of the season. Now, Oakland, obviously was a pleasant surprise. There'd been so much talk about, Toronto and a handful of other teams. Oakland must have kept it pretty close to the chest, and then all of a sudden they striked, and I got word that, they were seriously in play, and I was ecstatic. So, I'm a big fan of the Bay Area around here. Played in Stanford a handful of times and love it out here. And obviously coming to a team that's in a good situation that's done plenty fine without me. I'm just looking to do my part and hopefully add to the depth of the pitching staff and still a lot of season left to be played. So there's still a lot of work left to be done.
Hey Jeff, right to the 95-70 game, the home of the A's. Growing up in the organization how hard is that? One side, new team, new league, new coast.
No, I'm right where I need to be, man. I'm excited. I've been begging for this, for a while. To not team-wise. I just mean situation-wise, of being in a situation of coming every day to win games, and excited to win games with the guys you're playing with, and more worried about that game instead of who's going to be here, who's not going to be here, what's the future. That's tough to deal with all the time, especially as a team. When in this sport you need your whole team to be together to succeed. So I'm really excited, man. I can't wait to get out there and pitch and being all the way across the country from where I was before. I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't seen me pitch. And so I really want to come out and like I said, do my part to help this team win a bunch of ball games and be where we want to be, come season end.
Did you know right away that Jason was also involved in the trade? And when you did, I mean, what's it like, knowing that he's coming here with you?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't know the start until we were about 4 rooms down from each other in D.C., and we kept in touch. And we've always kind of been like, let me know what you hear, I'll let you know what I hear kind of thing. And once I found out, I texted him, and, I was really excited. I knew there was a couple guys that maybe had a chance to come with me in a trade, and he really wasn't one of them. I was expecting more maybe something, like a second baseman or a relief pitcher. So and I'm really excited. I've had the chance to play with him for the last 3 months in spring training. Outstanding guy. He comes to work every day, and he's a really good dude. So I think everyone's going to be really excited to have him here too. It's a great addition. No, I know Josh a little bit, just from before he got traded over here, but just very shortly. We didn't have him very long, and so no, which I'm excited about. I've actually become pretty good at meeting new players and getting to know these guys. Being in Chicago the last couple of years, we've had a few guys come in and out of the door, so my skills at meeting new people are pretty up there. So I'm excited to get in there. I'm excited to watch this game, and just to be a part of this. What's going on is exciting. These guys seem like they love to play baseball, which is right up my alley.
Jeff, Steve Troner from the San Francisco Chronicle. Talking to a couple of your now teammates and Bob Melvin, they referenced your football mentality, that, baseball player who played football at the highest level. What I want to ask is, when you're in football, do any guys talk about a baseball mentality?
No, not unless you're the kicker or the punter. So that's probably the only time in football you need the baseball mentality is, probably when you're lining up a 50-yarder to win it, and you take that deep breath and really concentrate and execute. Other than that, you're pretty much just out there raging and trying to hit some skulls. So it's a little different mentality, and it's a mentality I've been battling with for my whole baseball career and trying to keep it subdued for the most part. And it's gone real well the last couple of years as a starter. I've been able to get into a good routine and really learn myself and what I need to do. And, so I'm excited. I hope I can bring a sense of excitement to the team, and you don't want to be a distraction. You want to be an addition, and that's my main goal, is to come in and make a seamless transition into being a part of this team.
How do you feel about jumping right into it tomorrow? I mean, land tonight, and then you'll be on the mound tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, it wasn't even a question. Billy asked me how I felt, and I was supposed to pitch today. So, I'm a day past my due date to pitch, so I'm chomping at the bit to get out there. I don't think there's any better way to get acclimated with your teammates than to go out and do it on the mound. So it was a no-brainer for me, and I look forward to it.
Well, great to hear from Jeff Samardzija. See him in the green and gold. So welcome to the Athletics to Jeff Samardzija, and he's going to pitch tomorrow. So that's exciting. So we don't even have to wait around to see the big fella toe the rubber.
One thing about him, Glenn, he has presence. He reminds me a lot of Randy Johnson, just a big guy, intimidating, if you will. But he's juiced to be here. I mean, he's a power guy. He can elevate the fastball. He's tough for guys to lay off of it. He has a power slider. He doesn't mess around. He has a lot of competitive nature. We talked about his football background. He was a pretty good quarterback from what I understand, and could have played in the higher level in football. So the A's are getting an athlete that has a tremendous skill set.
So terrific ERA. Didn't get a lot of run support, and was on a Chicago Cubs team that, quite frankly, wasn't very good. But Samardzija 2-7, but a 2.83 ERA, and those are his numbers for this season. And I'm sure everybody knows kind of the situation with Samardzija. Not only do the A's have him this year, but they have him next year. He will not be a free agent until after 2015. So that's a big deal. I mean, you got a guy who's a terrific starting pitcher, and you got him for 2 pennant races.
Well, it's always that thought of a guy being a rental player. When you give up prospects like the A's did, to get a pitcher of this magnitude and how quickly he can have an impact on your club, but knowing that he's going to be a prized possession on the open market, but to have him for 2 years, I think that's a great point, Glenn. He is just not your typical rental player.
Jason Hamill on the other end. Now, he will be a free agent after this season. But it's certainly exciting. And congratulations to Billy Beane and his staff for pulling off the deal. And Norris caught it. How about that? Not your average foul tip. And Derek Norris stayed with it, and that is a strikeout. Check this out, Shooty.
Well, as a hitter, you know when you get a little piece, you know you probably got a little more life left. But Derek Norris, just a tremendous athlete, and the instincts that he has to stay with that foul ball. Like you said, you don't see that quite often here. And as a hitter, I mean, normally you know you've extended the at-bat, but unfortunately for the Toronto Blue Jays, that is not the case.
Expo brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. So here's Brad Glenn.
For Norris to do that, Glenn, that shows you that back must be feeling pretty good.
That's
as well.
true, yeah. Glenn takes inside. Brad Glenn's looking for his first big league hit. He's 0 for 13. Those are his AAA numbers, 377. And there's a strike, 1 and 2. Glenn playing right field. So the Blue Jays got a run in the first, but lost their first baseman, Encarnacion. Some type of leg injury. Not really fair for a hitter right now. There's a whole bunch of seagulls flying very low in the outfield, and that has to be a distraction.
Wow.
Could not be in a worse spot if you're a hitter. So Glenn is aboard. Let's take a look at what the A's rotation will look like. Kazmir, Samardzija, Hamill, Gray, and Jesse Chavez. And you look at the ERAs. Now, the A's had to make a difficult decision today, Shooty, and Jesse Chavez stays in the rotation. And Tommy Malone, who has pitched great, was sent to AAA. And I know that was very difficult for Bob Melvin to have to make that or have that meeting with Tommy Malone, who's been pitching great, but what can you say? Somebody had to be moved.
Great. I think that's an understatement. To be 6-0 in your past 6 starts, that's basically perfect. But Tommy Malone has always been able to bounce back from adversity, and I don't expect anything differently from him.
So Tommy Malone to AAA, and with Hamill supposedly coming tomorrow, the A's will have to make another move, so another pitcher will have to be out. We'll see exactly what happens with that. Runner goes. Fryman's throw to second is, what do they call? They called the balk, I believe. Yes, they did.
It was a balk, Glenn. Kazmir did a great job of pausing in the air. A lot of times when base stealers, especially when you have a left-handed pitcher that have somewhat shown you what they move might be, they go on first movement. In a situation when you felt that you knew what he had and you go on first movement, which he had Kazmir picked here, you can see that he broke that 45-degree angle, and there was no way that he would be able to throw to first base if he didn't.
So 1-2 the count to Juan Francisco, who very seldom plays against left-handers. That one's hit high to center field. Coco backs up. Glenn tags. Coco has it, and Glenn bluffs and doesn't go. Donaldson picks up the air in baseball, but Glenn stays at second, and that's the second out.
Number 66, Munenori Kawasaki.
If you watch Coco on that fly ball, even though it was somewhat a medium fly ball, he did a great job as far as selling it, getting behind it, allowing his body to be in a position to where he could get something on that throw. That made the mind up for the runner at second base that he knew he didn't have a chance to go.
So here's Munenori Kawasaki. Kawasaki takes a strike. Third straight start in this series for Kawasaki. He's 2 for 5 with a couple of walks, and he's made some nice defensive plays at second base. So Kawasaki's done a good job.
When you're a player of Kawasaki's talent, you have to go out and perform every day. You've got to help your club in one area, because when you don't shine in a lot of them, you must play consistently all day long.
Just a bit outside, and the count 1-1. Bill Miller's calling balls and strikes tonight, and he is the crew chief. Swing and a miss. Good, sharp breaking ball by Kazmir.
One thing that I saw Kazmir do on Glenn is take up residence on the inner half of the plate. That sets up his changeup away.
Strike 3 call. They went with a fastball on the inside corner, and that's a good pitch by Kazmir. So Glenn is stranded at second. Bottom of the second coming up. 1-0 Toronto.
Keys to the game. The Oakland A's must disrupt Burley's rhythm. One of the fastest workers in the game. Second of all, they're going to have to force action. He's very good at picking runners off. He's second since 1974 with 95. You got to get him out of his rhythm. Get some guys on base, maybe hit and run, because he's not going to let you steal bases.
He's got a hit off Burley in the first inning. Gentry with the infield hit. So it's Norris, Fryman, and Lowry here in second. Mark Burley. Closing in on a milestone shoot. He's got 196 career wins. 196 and 147. He's got a couple of no-hitters in his career. In 2007, he no-hit the Texas Rangers. In 2009, a perfect game against Tampa Bay. That's a pretty darn good resume for Mark Burley.
He's been a pretty good pitcher, Glenn. I talk about him not allowing runners to steal bases. I mean, he has a career 43% success rate, but this year the league is still in 71%. So something has changed somewhere along the line.
And Norris swings and misses, and that's the first strikeout for Burley. Now, those are the ranks since 2001. So he had 4 wins before that. But look at the first. And when you see starts shooting, he has never been on the disabled list. That is amazing.
It's incredible. All you want is a guy that's going to go out there and take the rubber for you every 5th day and to be able to depend on him. And that's what he's done his whole career.
Boy, ain't that the truth? Yeah, he's about as dependable as you can get. He will give up hits. He's not afraid to let the ball meet the bat.
Well, Glenn, he's first and grounded into double plays, 306. So that's evident in what you said.
High in the air. Cabrera's back. He's at the wall, and instead it's Rasmus who jumps up and makes the catch. So Fryman put a charge into it, but Colby Rasmus grabs it.
If you look at Big Nate in his new elevated batting stance, standing around the cage today, you can tell that he was working on trying to drive the baseball opposed to trying to lift it up out of there. When you're so big and you have leverage and extension in your swing, you don't have to try to make it happen. Just let it happen. And Nate just comes up a little short there. I got it. No, you take it.
It's a little bit more room than he may have thought. So 1-1 to Lowry, 217 with 4 homers, 31 RBIs. Just a bit inside.
It'll be really interesting to see how the A's go about having success against Burley tonight. They get a plan together, but Burley is a guy who doesn't look at video at all. He has a game plan. He doesn't care what the hitter is thinking about doing. You're going to have to make the adjustments to me. And I think what you have to do as a hitter here, you've got to find out what the umpire is going to call for strikes, because that's what Burley's going to do. He's going to pitch to the spots that he feels that the A's can't get to. And that's the area that you're going to have to look to attack, because he won't give in and he doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes.
3-2 pitch to Lowry. And there's a perfect example of 3-2 pitch. And it's looped over the head of Kawasaki, and he got a glove on it, but could not come up with it. It's a 3-2 changeup. And Lowry will have a base hit. Kawasaki hustling back, and he was the only one that was going to be able to make a play.
Yesterday we talked so much about guys being able to extend at bats. Lowry does a great job here by just getting a piece of it, but I guarantee you Kawasaki 9 out of 10 times makes this play here. Kind of just overran it a little bit, and that's why it hit him in the heel of his glove.
So here's Callaspo, second hit for the A's, and the first pitch is a high strike call. Chopped over the mound into center field, and that's a base hit. Lowry stops at second. Couple of 2-out hits, and here's Stephen Vogt.
If you're going to be successful against Burley, you're definitely going to have to stay middle away, because he's not going to give you anything that's going to allow you to pull him out of the ballpark. As a hitter, you probably need to crowd that plate a little bit, make him give in a little bit, and see if he can get in on your hands. I think if you have bat speed, you can keep that 85 to 86 up off you, but you better look away, because that's where you're going to live most of the game.
So Vogt with a very good batting average of .338, but does not have a hit against lefties this year, 0 for 12. So not a bad time to get his first. Vogt hitting in the 9th spot. Couple of home runs and 12 RBIs. That one's hit hard. Lind with a diving play, but Burley was late getting to the bag, and everybody's safe. Terrific play by Adam Lind. Close play at first, and John Gibbons is going to chat.
It'll be a very brief conversation because that play wasn't even close there. Mark Burley kind of hesitated, not bouncing off the mound right away. When you hesitate, basically you're going to be late. Not even close.
Watch Burley. He says, I can't beat him with my foot. I'm going to tag him. And the tag actually made the play fairly close, but he was indeed safe. So here's Coco. So Burley's got multiple gold gloves. He does not make a mistake like that very often, but he was just a shade late getting off the mound.
And you've got to give Vogt a lot of credit. He really got out of the box very quickly. You're not accustomed to seeing a guy who normally squats for the majority of the game to get down the line as quickly as Vogt did there.
So here's Coco Crisp, who bounced out to third his first at bat. Coco takes a pitch a bit high. Joe Stiglitz, our A's insider on Comcast Sportsnet California and CSNCalifornia.com, is going to join us in the third inning to talk about the big trade. So we'll look forward to talking to Joe Stiglitz. This one's hit high in the air to left field. Cabrera's going back, and he's at the wall, and he leaped up, and he made the catch right in front of the out-of-town scoreboard. So a huge play by Melky Cabrera with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Nice play. Top of the third inning, and it's the top of the order for the Toronto Blue Jays with a 1-0 lead over the A's. So, A's insider on CSN Bay Area and CSNCalifornia.com, Joe Stiglitz, has joined us in the booth, and you're working hard the last 24 hours, huh?
I was working hard.
Well, that's
working
good.
hard, yeah.
You're the insider.
That's right.
You were digging around, looking for information.
I think I was working harder on 4th of July than people usually think they should be working on 4th of July, probably. But you know what? The news is the news, and it was a pretty exciting day, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, the A's front office certainly working on 4th of July. And what had you heard maybe in the last couple weeks, because it sounded like in listening to Jeff Samardzija, he had really not heard a whole lot about the A's. There was a lot of other teams, and these are all rumors, obviously, but that's your job to dig for these things. What have you heard?
Yeah, well, it was a surprise, I think, to everybody that they were able to land a pitcher of the caliber of Samardzija. You thought Jason Hamill maybe was considered maybe just a tier below Samardzija and a guy like David Price, and maybe the A's could go for something like that. But then a guy like Addison Russell gets involved, and once you're willing to deal somebody like that, it kind of ups the stakes of what you can look for. So. No surprise at all. The A's were looking for starting pitching. I think most of the seasons, as it was playing out, you thought maybe starting pitching, rotation depth is where they could most use a little bit of boost, maybe. But the fact that they landed both these guys, I think, was a surprise to everybody.
Yeah, I agree. One would have been great, but two, you're like, whoa, that's pretty darn good.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, Lil Joe.
Okay. We got
a lot of times when a player is demoted, it's either that he deserves to be demoted or his performance dictates that.
Right.
What does the Oakland A's brass tell Tommy Malone today?
Boy, you know what? Bob Melvin said it was a really tough conversation to have. What do you say to a guy like that who is 6-0 with a sub-3 ERA over his past 11 starts? I mean, it was nothing Tommy Malone did to really deserve this kind of demotion, but they needed to send somebody down. They got to create some room in this rotation. Tommy pitched yesterday. He wasn't going to be available in relief tonight, and they're a little bit short in relief tonight after yesterday's 12-inning game. So Brad Mills is, who was also in the rotation, is available in relief tonight. Tommy went down. But you know what? I think the A's also probably think, Tommy's been through this before. He's a guy who got sent down last year at times, came back up, did well in a couple spot starts and in relief. He's a guy who knows how to handle the shuttle between AAA and the major leagues. Handled it with some success last year. He's a pretty mentally tough guy, I think the A's believe. So, but he did not deserve to go down based on the way he's performed lately at all.
So, Joe, did the A's do this because of the Angels and the Mariners, or did the A's do it because of the Tigers? Or all of the above?
If you ask Justin Verlander, he'll tell you they did it all because of us. But I think there's some validity to what Billy Beane was saying on his media conference call this morning, that before the A's think about the postseason, I think they honestly think they're in for a fight here to lock down the division title this year, because the Angels are playing some really good baseball right now. The Mariners are not far behind the Angels in the standings right now. I think both those teams are going to be looking to improve themselves before the trade deadline, probably. So those two teams are feeling good about themselves. They think they've got a shot at least at the wild card. They're playing good baseball. I think the A's made this move first and foremost to shore up their chances for the division. And if they do get to the postseason, that rotation 1 through 4 is looking a lot stronger now.
3-2 pitches, bounce foul.
Coming out of spring training, pitching definitely was at a surplus, and it was definitely depth there. A couple of injuries, guys getting more innings than they normally had at this time of the year, kind of came to be a weakness.
Right.
The A's struck quickly. They took care of that. Will there be any more moves made prior to the trade deadline?
That's what I asked Billy Beane this morning, and one thing he said was it will behoove us to continue looking to improve our team. And whenever Billy uses the word behoove, it usually means they're definitely still actively looking to do something. Maybe you always know they're capable of pulling another move. Where would they look now? They've shored up the starting pitching. The bullpen, they just got O'Flaherty back. I don't know if they're really looking to shore up that right now, but you look around the diamond, could they make a move maybe? I mean, second base is a spot where they haven't got a whole lot of offensive production, consistent offensive production this year. Maybe they could look at that, and because they've got the surplus pitching, could they look to turn around and deal some of that for a position player? We'll see, but I think they're happy with the pitching pieces they have right now, the way things stand.
Batista lines one into the seats. Talking to Joe Stiglitz, our A's insider on CSN. The big trade, Jeff Samardzija, and Samardzija is going to pitch tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that.
And you think the A's also think, if we improve our pitching, maybe the offensive shortcomings aren't quite as glaring if we do improve the pitching. There's a little bit of balance there.
And I think whatever offensive shortcomings there are,
and there aren't many.
I was going to say
there aren't many
right
now.
The major leagues in runs scored, so you may look at a position or two that's a little short offensively, but as a whole, I just think this team has a lot of ways to score runs, and they have guys who can carry you. And you're always looking to improve, but I think what they did is what they needed, and that's a starting pitcher or maybe two, and they got two. Batista swings and misses. Norris picks it up, and that'll do it. So Joe Stiglitz, get back to work. There could be another trade in the works.
You never know. Thanks for having me, huh?
So Joe Stiglitz, our A's insider from CSNBayArea.com. And go there right now, because that's what Joe wrote. Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Evergood Sausage Company. Get grilling. Bottom of the third inning. Burley facing Gentry. His first pitch was a bit low, but called a strike. So 0-1 to Gentry, who had an infield single in the first inning. And another strike, and Gentry not thrilled with Bill Miller. Gentry, Cespedes, and Donaldson here in the bottom of the third inning. Blue Jays got a run in the first. Strike three called. Well, 3 pitches, and Gentry is called out.
Just an excellent sequence of pitches here. I mean, Burley cut him on the inside and then put him away on the outside. And when you watch him pitch, he's already standing on the road by the time that the hitter gets into the box. He disrupts your rhythm when, on the flip side, the A's need to try to disrupt Burley's rhythm. I mean, he gets in there and he's ready to go. Doesn't give you a chance to think a lot. You better be ready to hack when you get up there because he's throwing strikes and he's throwing quality strikes.
First pitch is a changeup to Cespedes outside. Well, that's what you're talking about. Nobody throws pitches quicker than Mark Burley. That one's hit right field, headed for the corner, hit pretty well, and it's going to be caught, though, by Brad Glenn. So Brad Glenn had to run a long ways, and he makes the catch, so that's the second out.
Glenn, what you're going to start seeing about the third or fourth inning, you'll start seeing A's hitters step out of the box, start acting like something got in their eye or something. They may need some eye drop, but you're going to have to find a way to slow him down. I mean, we've watched him pitch 2-hour and 5-minute games here, so this is no secret in the way that he's going to attack the A's hitters.
Well, last month I was reading something, Shooty, that somebody did the research. I don't know who it was, but it was legitimate. That the average time in between each pitch is 22 seconds. That's the average time between every pitch in the big leagues. Burley's at 16. This one's to center. And that baby's gone. Donaldson is homered, and just like that, we are all tied at 1. So Donaldson with his 19th home run of the year. Second home run in the last 24 games, so Donaldson has to feel good about that. Here's Norris. Burley pours it in there for a strike.
The old linebacker Hall of Famer Lawrence Taylor wrote a book called Living on the Edge. Burley has been early on in this game. 2 balls hit to the warning track that almost got out. In the last inning, Coco Chris almost shot him up out of there, but he ran out of real estate there. Josh Donaldson hit it to the most deepest part of the field. No park in the game could have held that ball there.
That one is ripped, but it's going to be foul.
We've watched Donaldson so many times create tremendous extension and leverage to straightaway center field here. And depending on which way the wind is blowing, is going to determine how far he hits the ball out here. We've seen him square up a bunch that don't get out of here, but it appears that the wind is blowing a little bit tonight, and it's aiding the hitters. And right there was a no doubt.
Shallow right field. Glenn coming in. He's got it. Side retired. Donaldson with his 19th home run of the year. So as we head to the 4th inning, this ball game is tied at 1.
Prior to the July 8th A's vs. Giants game, the A's will host the Bay Bridge First Responders softball game. It will be presented by AAA. First responders from Oakland and San Francisco will battle for softball supremacy. As a thank you to these men and women who put their lives on the line to help save ours, AAA will be making a donation to each of the participating organizations.
So Donaldson a home run, and we're tied at 1. This is Adam Lind. And there he is, folks. Jeff Samardzija, full uni, meeting his new teammates.
He's got good-looking hair, too.
Got to be an interesting feeling. All of a sudden. I mean, yesterday at this time, or at this time, you're probably just kind of finding out about it, but still. Yesterday afternoon, you're in the dugout in Washington in a Cubs uniform, and tonight you're in Oakland. So he's just checking it out. All right, who's the guy next to me? He looks familiar. I don't know who he is.
Well, he said he's kind of used to it in Chicago. It seems like every day somebody was coming in and somebody was going out, but you can tell the excitement of being able to come to a ball club that has an opportunity to play in the postseason. And Samardzija's a big-time postseason type performer, so perfect guy for this ball club.
I mean, if it's the new guy, wouldn't you like talk to him and make him feel comfortable?
Well, he's got a no-hitter going right now. And I want to talk to him. I don't want to jinx him, Glenn.
Just talk to the guy. He doesn't know anybody.
Well, I'm looking at Blanks, and he's still upset about Samardzija carving him up when he was with the Cubs. That's why he didn't have nothing to say about it. Hitters don't like pitchers anyway. So just because you're over here, dude, I'm going to have to warm up to you a little bit.
I guess.
Kazmir has it going now. I mean, early on he had a little difficult time establishing his fastball on the sides of the plate, but what that does is set up his secondary stuff in which he's able to put left-handers away with. And even though he's had a great changeup this year, his slider is his go-to pitch against left-handed hitters.
So with one out, here's Deanna Navarro. Pitch is a strike to Navarro. Chris Carter has hit a grand slam for the Houston Astros, and the Astros lead the Angels 5-1 in the bottom of the third inning. How about that? Feldman and Santiago, the two starters there. Santiago is 0-7 for the Angels. Trout walked him off last night with his 20th home run. So the Angels trailing early, 5-1.
Just goes to show you how valuable power is in this game. Chris Carter, that's what he does. Hit home runs.
Count even now, 2-2. Home ERA for Scott Kazmir. Best, 1.61. His last two starts have been on the road at New York and at Detroit. He's glad to be back home. And Navarro went around. 6 strikeouts for Kazmir.
One thing that I've witnessed from both pitchers thus far early on in this game is that they have both been up in the strike zone a little bit. When Scott Kazmir is at his best, it's when he's pounding the ball below the knees, getting hitters to chase out of the zone. Burley's having a problem getting his fastball down, and when you throw 84 to 86 miles per hour, that is a recipe for disaster.
Shift is on. Lowry scoops it up. Erasmus is retired, and that is 8 in a row retired by Scott Kazmir. Bottom of the fourth coming up. It's a 1-1 game. Bats are brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Strikeouts per 9 innings since 2011. That's over in the National League. And Jeff Samardzija averaging nearly 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. Not too shabby. And look at the guys on that list. As we always like to say, Shooty, that's a good list to be on. So Samardzija, lots of strikeouts. And we'll get a good look tomorrow. Making his first start tomorrow for the A's. He arrived here at the Coliseum right about game time. Out of the airport over to the Coliseum, got his uniform on, and showed you just a couple minutes ago into the dugout, shaking hands with his teammates, and now getting to know Sonny Gray. And inside strike called, and that is the third strike on him. So Fryman maybe thought it was a bit inside. Burley gets the call.
What Burley is able to do is cut his fastball. He's also able to make it move the other way. And when you're able to do that, you're unpredictable. As a right-hand hitter, you're not intimidated by a soft tossing lefty. A lot of times you're just confused.
First pitch to Lowry is high. Lowry had a base hit in the second inning. Just off the glove of Kawasaki in shallow right center field. So 1-1 the count. You're looking at Jeff Samardzija in the dugout. And he's a big guy. He's about 6'5". And a terrific college football player. He's from Indiana. So, if you're from Indiana and you're a good football player, are you going to go to the University of Indiana?
No.
Are you going to go to Indiana State?
No.
Where are you going to go?
The Fighting Irish.
That's right, and that is exactly where Samardzija went, and he was terrific.
Yeah, he was a pretty good wide receiver.
Yeah, number 83, and huge target, and I mean, he could play in the NFL. I mean, that's without question. And that was against the Stanford Cardinal in Palo Alto, so he's been here before. So he was the real deal in college, folks. But he said, you know what? I got a pretty good arm. And he was an all Big East player in baseball. 5th round pick of the Cubs. And now really, despite a career record that's under 500, he just playing on some teams that weren't, quite frankly, just weren't very good. But he's got as good a stuff as anybody.
Well, Glenn, looking at him over there, something that I hadn't thought about, standing next to Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray has power stuff. Jeff Samardzija is a power pitcher, and that's one thing that the A's didn't have on their staff. Once Sonny Gray puts it all together, I mean, he's capable of overpowering guys, but he's still a young pitcher learning himself around the major league.
Adam Lind coming over, and he's not going to quite get it. Well, if you remember, Samardzija, when he got to the big leagues with the Cubs, he pitched out of the bullpen. And it was kind of that decision of, hey, this is a major power arm in the bullpen. Should we make him a starter or leave him in the bullpen? The Cubs then in 2012 made him a starter, and he's been a starter ever since. But he was quality out of the bullpen when he first came to the big leagues.
And that's a great point, Glenn. Most of the time, guys who are down in the bullpen are there because they can't start. They need their pitches minimized so they can concentrate on one or two. This is a guy who has learned how to start and has taken that and run with it.
So again, the Cubs were in Washington, D.C. for a weekend series. There's a shot. Left field, it's headed for the corner. Melky Cabrera was playing way off the line. So Callaspo with an easy double. So 10th double of the year for Callaspo.
Well, I'm ready to anoint Alberto Callasmo is having some of the fastest hands in the West. If you come out here and you watch him take batting practice, all he does is manipulate the bat all over the field, let the ball travel, let the ball get deep, let the ball do all those things that people say that you should allow the baseball to do. And then all he does is put hands on you. Right there, a great, great exhibition of hitting.
So 2 outs and a runner at second for Vogt. Vogt had an infield single in the second inning that loaded the bases. He's not score. Coco flied out to the wall in left field.
You know, Glenn, at this level, these players just make a game that is so difficult look so easy. If you come out and watch Alberto take batting practice, it is like poetry in motion, effortlessly, but very effectively.
3-0.
Did you read Reyes' lips there? He said, "Bueno manos, my friend." That's what I said, Shooty.
Shooty's got connections all over. He can actually talk to players on the field. He's talking to Shooty right now. He's not talking to Callasmo.
That's enjoying playing the game right there.
.3-1 pitch. High strike. 3-2. Didn't have to be.
I think Burley is living very dangerously, pitching up in the zone. That's one thing that the Oakland A's hitters do a very great job of, making you elevate the ball up in the zone, making mistakes, and that's when they normally make you pay.
And that one's low, so Vogt gets the walk. So Vogt not had a hit against a lefty this year, and tonight he's got a single and he's got a walk. So Burley walks his first hitter. He's got 3 strikeouts and trying to get out of another 2-out rally for the A's. Same thing happened in the second inning.
As I talked about, Burley barely got away with Coco Chris the last time he was up with runners in scoring position. Almost hit him out of the ballpark.
First pitch is a changeup that's high. Inside corner strike. So it looks like, Shooty, a pretty good pitcher's strike zone tonight from Bill Miller. I didn't say a bad strike zone. It just looks like a pitcher's strike zone.
Well, he's consistent, and that's all that you want out of an umpire, to establish what's going to be a strike and what's going to be a ball. And then everybody has a game plan that they can follow.
Little flare. Shallow right center. That's a base hit. Callasmo in to score. Vogt to third, and a 2-out rally, and the A's have taken the lead 2-1.
Glenn, we always talk about how important it is for a pitcher to pitch down in the zone, especially when you have 2 strikes. A guy is just trying to live for the next pitch, foul it off. But when you're fighting with the ball up in the air, you have so many opportunities to get hits. Coco, who's very strong for a kid his size, is able to muscle this ball over the outstretched hands of Kawasaki here. Just because Burley elevated another fastball, I don't care if it's 95 or 85, you just cannot afford to pitch up in the zone in this league.
So Coco gets his 30th RBI. Here's Gentry. Gentry goes after the first pitch, and it's 0-1. Another broken bat, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Vogt scores, and it's 3-1.
As I watch Burley apply pitches here early on, there looks to be a lot more apprehension opposed to intention in the way that he's delivering his pitches. If you watch him in his delivery, he's kind of leaking out a little early on, not finish his pitches, which makes his ball stay up in the strike zone. You don't normally see him get hit like this so much on a consistent basis.
He has given up 8 hits in the game. Burley got off to that great start this year, but his last 5 starts, he's 0-4. ERA is pretty good, though, but he just has not had a whole lot of luck. Remember, he started the season 10-1. After he shut down the Kansas City Royals on June 1st, he was 10-1. He has not won since then. Pitch to Cespedes is a high strike. Cespedes reached on a fielder's choice and hit a fly ball to right field. So the report on Encarnacion, Shooty, is it was not a hamstring, it was a quad injury,
which can be equally painful and as bad as a hamstring, because it can take a long time for that injury to heal, something that can nag you for the rest of the season.
Encarnacion in the first inning, running past first base is when the quad hit, and he immediately left the game. 0-2 pitches, drilled foul. This is Encarnacion, and he beat out the play and actually got an RBI on this play. Well, he was hustling.
You're always taught when you're running down to first base that you run through the bag. You never leap or lunge toward the bag, because that's when you're susceptible to injury, especially early on in the game when you're not really loose. And that's when Encarnacion injured himself, on that last lunge to the bag.
So that is why Adam Lind is in the game.
And when Lind came in the game, he was acting as if he had not digested his pregame spread yet.
Maybe he didn't. Cespedes, good swing to the backstop, 0-2. "31 pitches in this inning for Mark Burley. He has not had a 3-up, 3-down inning. A little bit inside. He gave up a hit in the first, 3 hits in the second, a hit in the third, and 3 more here in the fourth. Changeup stays outside to even the count at 2-2.
Glenn, you know, one of Burley's finer traits is that he's always been so efficacious in his effort, and I think the reason why the A's have been successful tonight is that he has not been able to throw quality pitches early on, and when he's made mistakes, they've made him pay for it.
This one is skied into the evening sky, and Reyes has it, side retired. 2-out rally, and the A's get a pair, so we're headed to the 5th inning. The A's now have the lead, 3-1. Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Roaring Camp Railroads. Kick up your heels at Roaring Camp's free heritage events all summer long. So the A's with a 3-1 lead. It is the top of the 5th inning. Scott Kazmir has retired 8 in a row. Coco with the RBI hit. Gentry with an RBI hit, all with 2 outs. Callaspo dives, and he cannot quite get a good grip on it. And Brad Glenn is going to have his first big league hit. So congratulations to the big right fielder. Ball rolls into the dugout, and who knows what's going to happen to it in the next 5 minutes. Could be anything, Shooty.
Yeah, one thing about playing multiple positions, Glenn, is that you don't get extensive work at all of them. Callaspo has shown the ability to play third, second, as well as first base, but the athletic plays that take a lot of reps. We've watched Callaspo on 2 times tonight have a little difficult time with his exchange, When you're playing with a first baseman's glove that's built like a basket and a third base glove that's normally about 12 or 13 inches long, it's easy to make a transfer because normally you're not in that big of a hurry to get it out. But when you're playing in the middle of the diamond, everything is more or less like a deflection. You don't have a long time to hold on to the baseball. So you have to give Callaspo credit for being able to play multiple positions, but it's a very tough challenge for a player to do that.
Francisco takes in the dirt. 1-1 the count. Francisco this year against left-handed pitching is hitting .083. So he doesn't play a lot against left-handed pitching.
Well, a lot of times everything is based on numbers. The matchups, the history. Francisco has been swinging the bat very well for Toronto of late. So I know they need to try to play a hot hand, especially when their offense has been struggling.
He's 2 for 24. But he does have a home run, so he just doesn't get a lot of at-bats against lefties. Sounds like the Blue Jays are looking for a second baseman. Trade deadline. At least that's what's being reported, which does not surprise you.
When you look at a club offensively that is strong as Toronto is, Kawasaki fits in pretty well because he's a Gold Glove caliber defensive player. But whenever you have a chance to upgrade, you're definitely going to do that.
That one hit foul left side.
But when the rest of your offense is struggling, and anybody that is not performing with the bat, those are going to be the first guys that they try to identify. And the thing about playing in the middle of the diamond, it used to be a position that where you could hit 240 or 250 and get away with playing stellar defense. That is a thing of the past. They look for guys to bang all over the field.
That one rolled toward Callaspo, who throws to Lowry to get the out there. Nicely done by Alberto Callaspo.
Callaspo made that play a lot easier than what it looked. He had to range a long way in the hole, and normally on this play, you take the sure out at first base because that is the shorter throw, but because Kazmir didn't get there very quickly, Callaspo was afforded the opportunity to get out at second base when normally you don't get many runners there because that is a long throw there on a ball that wasn't hit that hard.
Kawasaki bunts. Kazmir has it. He throws to first. Got him. Kawasaki really hustling down the line.
Well, that's no secret also that we know Kawasaki will try that. Yesterday, after Dan Otero was drilled in the shin, right away he tried to test his ability to be able to field his position by bunting on him, but we know it's noted that Scott Kazmir is one of the better fielding left-handed pitchers in the league, and it's very evident here that he knew that Kawasaki was capable of trying him in that situation, and he made the play look very easy as well.
So they're going to give Kawasaki a sacrifice. I don't think that's what his intention was. He was trying to bunt for a base hit, but he's going to get credited with a sacrifice. Did move the runner up to second base. And that one to the backstop, but it bounces right back to Norris. And that is the new thing here at the Coliseum, because we've seen that happen about 5 times in the last 2 homestands, where the ball bounces right back to the catcher.
And generally, if you're the visiting team, your instinct is to take off because you know there's a whole lot of room back there. Unless you've gone back there and kicked that padding back there, you wouldn't know it's as hard as it is.
There's a strike, 1 and 2 to Reyes, who's 1 for 2. He singled and scored in the first inning.
Glenn, I think that's very generous to give Kawasaki a sacrifice on a play like that when you have 1 out and he's really bunting for a hit there.
Yeah, I don't think that was his intention. That one's hit deep down the left field line. Well, foul.
You know, Tommy Malone was able to pretty much contain Jose Reyes yesterday. And one of the things about Reyes, even though he's hitting for a fair average this year, against left-handed pitching, it's like 226. So it's quite obvious he's not as strong from his right side this year.
All right, fastball foul back. .81 pitches for Scott Kazmir, so pitch count up a little bit for him. 38 pitches in the first 2 innings. One-two pitch, good. Fastball, and Reyes strikes out, and the runner is stranded at second base. Bottom of the 5th coming up, 3-1 the A's lead.
Take advantage of the Xfinity Friday Family Pack. Every Friday home game, you can get 4 Plaza level tickets, 4 Coliseum hot dogs, 4 medium sodas, and 4 bags of peanuts for only $50. Tickets are limited, so act fast. For more information and tickets, go to athletics.com/Friday.
Donaldson to lead it off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. A's with a 3-1 lead. Donaldson homered in the 3rd to tie it. And he was trying to homer again here in the 5th, but he missed it.
Huh. He was trying to lift and separate.
That would be a lift and separate swing. Norris to follow, and then Fryman. He's with 3 runs on 8 hits. They've stranded 6. And that one is hit very high in the air. Melky Cabrera can't find it. And he does finally find it, and now he comes in and over and he makes the catch.
Take a look at Donaldson here. I mean, love to watch the guys with the high leg kicks that can really create tremendous amount of leverage. Josh Donaldson does a great job of keeping his bat on a flat plane and a level path throughout his swing. And when he's on time, he's really on point. And he's a little disappointed there because he felt that he had something that he can handle, but I think he just got out on his front foot just a little too much.
First pitch to Norris. A breaking ball, first strike. Norris has struck out and hit a fly ball to right field. Astros still leading the Angels. It's now 5-2 in the 5th inning down in Anaheim. See where the Angels acquired Joe Thatcher last night. Joe Thatcher, a pretty good left-handed reliever from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Funky, I think you could say. Would you agree with that, Shooty?
No, Glenn, I wouldn't say he's funky. I'd say he's funky.
Okay, and that's a funky hit as it drops, and Norris will have a bloop single.
You got that right, partner. And the reason why I say that about Thatcher is because he's a guy who throws from a low 3/4 angle. He is so tough on left-handed hitters. We watched Derek Norris here. I mean, yesterday the A's had 2 balls that dropped in for him yesterday that were just placed perfectly here against a very tough pitcher in Marcus Stroman.
So hit number 9 for the Athletics.
They call those hitters delights, Glenn.
Mark Burley calls them something else. So that's a good pickup for the Angels, Thatcher. I mean, they needed a left-handed guy down in that bullpen. They, for a while, didn't have a lefty down there.
I think it's always a great move when you can fulfill a need.
Yeah, I agree. So the Angels get a left-handed reliever. So last couple days they've added Grilly, the right-handed reliever, and Thatcher, the left-handed reliever. And they said we need to improve our bullpen. We're talking about the Angels, and they hope that they've done that.
Well, Artie Moreno has made no secret that he's willing to go out and spend the money to win right now. And if you look at the personnel of that ball club, they're quite capable of doing that.
This one's hit to shallow right field. Glenn coming in, and he stops, makes the catch. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. The Angels also got a speedy outfielder in that trade named Tony Campana, who's very fast. I mean, he is super fast, but he has not hit a lot. But a stolen base guy and an extra outfielder with lots of speed on the bench for the Angels, if that's what they decide to do.
Well, one dimension that he brings is speed, and we know that Mike Scioscia likes to play the National League style of baseball. So when you have a guy that has the versatility that Campanas has, he can play all 3 outfield positions. He can come in and steal a bag. He's probably only 5'10", weighs about $145, but he really has blazing speed. And whenever you can add a guy of that caliber, it only helps your club.
Yeah, I was thinking about him, and listen, we're talking about a guy who really doesn't hit much, but he could be valuable for them. If you think about late in the game, Albert Pujols, who really can't run at all, but still can hit. He's on base a fair amount. That may be where you see a guy like Tony Campana. Pitch running for Pujols. More action for Glenn, the right fielder, so he's getting his sprints in. He makes the catch. Side retired. Norris stranded. He's had a hit, nothing else. We're through 5, 3-1 A's. Here's our Ford right choice yesterday. Another fun one and another walk-off. Derek Norris on first. Punto shoots one down the left field line, and Melky Cabrera missed it. And once that happened, this baby was over. Norris scores. 6th walk-off win of the season. It took 12 innings, but the A's won it 1-0. 1-0. For the A's pitching staff, it was their 8th shutout of the year, and it was quite a ball game. But you always feel like the A's are going to win it, especially at home, and they did, thanks to Punto and Norris and Melky Cabrera, who probably should have made the play, and I don't know that Norris would have been sent if Cabrera fields it clean and gets it back in. I don't know that that would have been the case. Unless Mike Gallegos was feeling frisky and said, let's take a chance. But once it rolled past Cabrera, that was clearly the ballgame.
I don't think you have arrived here unless you've been pied.
Inside to Cabrera. If that's the case, then Nick Punto is here.
Absolutely.
2-2 to Cabrera. He'll be followed by Batista and Lind. And now 3-2. Off the foot, so Cabrera will dance around a little bit.
This is the benefit of having a cutter. What starts out looking like a fastball, hitter starts cheating a little bit, and that last 6 inches of break gets you on the bottom part of the baseball bat, and normally that's when you get hit down there and you hear guys over in the dugout whistling like you stepped on your puppy's toe. If you ever heard that scream, that's basically how a hitter feels in that situation there.
That was a bad one.
That was very painful.
Man. Right on the shin, the lower shin.
Milky's a tough guy.
Yeah. 3-2, and it's to Lowry. Quickly to first, and they just get Melky Cabrera. So that's out number 1. Talking about yesterday, you cannot forget about the bullpen. Terrific again. 6 shutout innings. That's what each guy did.
Now batting, number 19, Jose.
Started with Eric O'Flaherty. And maybe the best news on that graphic, Shooty, is that nobody threw a lot of pitches. Nobody had to go multiple innings.
A lot of times when a team has a very good game, the manager or the coach wants to give up a game ball. He probably told Steve Vucinich to rub up a dozen yesterday because I got a bunch of guys I want to give one to.
Good pitch, 0-2 to Jose Batista. Well, that group's been very solid all year. Bautista is 2 for 11 in the series. And he drives this one to right field. Vogt back. And Vogt makes the catch. So Bautista, not a happy camper. He's 0 for 3.
And he's found a lot to be upset about. I mean, he's been cursing all game long. I mean, he had some choice words over on the dugout when Jose Reyes didn't tag up. I mean, this is what touch and feel type pitchers do to power hitters. I mean, they just frustrate them because they just feel like they should just be handling those guys, and they just don't want to give a pitcher credit for making quality pitches.
So 2 outs, and Adam Lind hits. Lind lines one. Gentry's there. Side retired. 3 up, 3 down inning. Bottom of the 6th coming up. 3-1. The A's lead. Brought to you by McDonald's. 25 years ago, the A's won their second straight American League pennant, and it happened in 5 games against the Blue Jays. They wrapped it up in Toronto. Dennis Eckersley striking out Junior Felix. Of course, the A's would then move on to a 4-game sweep of the Giants in the World Series. But they had to get by the Blue Jays first, and he did that in 5 games. So, not a bad postseason. So you go 4-1, and then you sweep. So you win 8 out of 9 playoff games, and that's good enough for a World Series championship. Blue Jays would answer back, and they would win in 92 and 93. So their disappointment in losing that series to the A's in 89. They did get a couple of World Series back-to-back, and they have not been back to the postseason since 1993.
And Cito Gaston was the manager that won in 92 and 93, and he hasn't managed since. So he's disappointed as well.
Callaspo is retired for the first time.
Join us Saturday, July 19th, when we pay tribute to one of baseball's all-time great teams at the 6:05 game against the Baltimore Orioles. 15,000 fans will receive a 1989 throwback T-shirt that will be presented by Songevity as part of the 1989 World Series Championship Reunion Weekend. This limited edition T-shirt features a hand-drawn caricature of some of the 1989 team's most recognizable players. For information and tickets, visit athletics.com/1989 or call 877-493-BALL.
There's Dennis Eckersley waiting to get his wind sprints in. Ricky and Raleigh. Slowly hit. Stephen Vogt showing off the wheels, and he's got himself an infield hit. Stephen Vogt is 2 for 2 with a walk. He'll take it.
I think we should vote for Steven to be the most exciting player on this ball club. I mean, day in and day out, he just finds a way to get it done. Sent to AAA early on in the year, comes right back, takes a job in the lineup somewhere, and just continues to find a way to get it done. I just love Stephen Vogt.
So he's been on base all 3 times. Here's Coco Crisp. You know what I would vote for? Stephen Vogt. Nicest baseball player I've ever met.
Wow.
And there's a lot of nice players out there.
Yes, it is.
There's a lot of nice guys in the East. But Stephen Vogt, I think, is the nicest guy I've ever met.
And that's quite a compliment.
And I mean that. I'm not just saying. He's friendly, down to earth. He'll tell you what's going on. He'll ask about you, see how you're doing. Todd Redmond starts to throw. So 10 hits off Burley in 5 1/3 innings.
I think it's quite obvious that Mark Burley's just not right. A lot of times there is a tweak, there is an adjustment, there is something ailing, something is not right. When you're a pitcher that makes a living on touch, feel, and command, and you really don't have neither of the 3, there's definitely something missing in his arsenal.
Well, he spent quite a bit of time in the stretch as well. Coco had a big 2-out hit. He blooped one in the 4th inning that broke the 1-1 tie. And that one off the mask of Deanna Navarro.
I think that's a great point you make there, Glenn, about him being in the stretch. When you are a reliever, a lot of times now, it is quite fashionable for a reliever to pitch exclusively out of the stretch. Starting pitchers, especially soft-tossing guys, create a lot of deception with some type of head movement, body turning. Mark Burley is one of those guys, but when you pitch in the stretch, now you become a lot more deliberate and a lot more predictable. Deception is so huge for a pitcher. The one thing that you try to do is limit the ability for a hitter to pick up the baseball. You like to see him pick up the ball very late, somewhat coming out of his uniform, somewhere but not out of his hand. In the stretch, it's a little easier to pick Burley up.
2-2 pitch is hit high in the air. Coming in is Cabrera. And left fielder's got it for the second out. So Coco now 1 for 4 with a big hit, and that'll bring up Gentry.
Left fielder, Frank Gentry.
It's like all games are final now in Major League Baseball except this one and that Angels-Astros game, which has reached the top of the 6th inning. Still a 5-2 Astros lead. A's with a 3.5 game lead over the Angels in the West. Mariners won today 3-2 in Chicago, so the Mariners get their 48th win. So they're back to 9 games over 500. Brad Glenn goes back, now comes in, he's got it, side retired, a hit and a runner left, and we're on to the 7th inning from the Coliseum. 3-1 the A's lead.
Trying to get out the box, break up, beat a double play. Oh no! Bad quad right here, not a good sign for the Toronto Blue Jays. And Josh Donaldson letting some head out and getting some tape. Straightaway center field. Coco Chris, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't call them the swinging A's. Maybe it should be the fighting A's because they're fighting off high fastballs all game long to the demise of Mark Burley.
Hitting off top of the 7th inning, number 30.
So here's Casimir back to work. Casimir has allowed just 3 hits so far. He's retired 5 in a row. They'll face Navarro, Rasmus, Glenn with action in the bullpen. Dan Otero. I do believe that guy pitches every day.
And he's very well capable of doing it. One thing here, Glenn, the A's have to like their chances. When the A's score 4 more runs, they are 8-0 when Scott Casimir pitches. So at 3 runs or better, they're 9-0. So all he needs is just a little bit of run support, and he'll do the rest.
There's a strike. So 3-2 to Navarro. Kazmir kicks, payoff pitch. And it's hit into left field. Gentry's there, and he's got it. So Navarro 0 for 3. The 3 hits in the game for the Blue Jays are Reyes and Cabrera, the first 2 hitters of the game. Since then, a leadoff single by Glenn in the 5th. Those are the only hits. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts for Kazmir.
Such a competitive nature on this ball club. Now guys are pitching for supremacy. Sure, Scott Kazmir is glad to see the new additions over here, but he finds himself in a position where he feels like he shouldn't take a seat second to no one, especially the way that he's pitched. And that's a great thing. I think that's been one of the assets of this ball club is there's a built-in competition among all the players. And when you watch Tommy Milone get sent out of here, everybody kind of takes notice saying, hey, I better make sure that I take my game to another level because anything is possible.
Has not walked a batter leading off an inning this year.
And I don't mean to keep harping on Tommy Milone because he will be back here and he will play a significant role with this ball club. It's just a great problem to have when you have more than 25 players that are capable of being on a 25-man roster.
Yeah, I think nowadays teams, when you're planning your team, putting it together in the offseason, you don't think about 5 starters, you think about 7. Because most people feel that through the course of a year, you're going to need a couple extra starters.
That is absolutely right. I mean, Tommy Milone was just fabulous yesterday. Mixing it up, moving it in, moving it out, adding some, taking some off, never breaking a sweat, staying on the thin part of the bat, frustrating Toronto's bruising, muscle-bound hitters, having no effect. I mean, when you start seeing guys freeze on fastballs that are 86 and 87 miles per hour down the middle of the plate and you can't pull the trigger, you are truly confused at the plate. You have to give Kurt Young such a tremendous amount of credit in what he's been able to do as far as left-handed pitchers in this organization. You just speak volumes about everyone just continues to improve, and it's all about the prep work that they do.
So here's Glenn, who takes a touch outside.
And I mean a touch, Glenn. That's a pretty good pitch there.
Glenn with a walk and a single. His single in the 5th inning was his first major league hit. Good swing there, fouled it back, 1-1. Abad has joined Otero. Redmond's been throwing in the Blue Jays bullpen. Left-hand hitting Juan Francisco is in the on-deck circle. That one's hit high in the air, but playable. Gentry waits. He's got it, and that's the 2nd out.
Glenn, you know, numbers say a whole lot. You know, history tells you what has happened. If we look at when the Oakland A's faced Toronto the last time, they handled the A's, and they handled them fairly easily, and they were a very good team at that time. Speed the clock up a little bit, and they come to Oakland. They see a lot different in this Oakland ball club in the way that they've been able to handle Toronto. And during the course of 162 games, it's just amazing the way that the game can change. The ups and the downs, the hot streaks and the cold streaks.
I think it's one of the great things about baseball, also one of the frustrating things where your team can be good for a month and then bad for 2 weeks, and it's hard to explain. You just think about Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, they were bad for a month and a half, and now they're starting to play better. They won 8 out of 10. They won again today. Tigers much talent as they've had. They had a 3-week stretch where they did not play well. Roll foul. Look at the Giants. Best team in baseball record-wise, and all of a sudden they can't win a game. I mean, how do you explain stuff like that? You can't. It's just like the season, man.
2 weeks ago, people were just talking and getting excited about a potential Bay Bridge World Series.
Just like that.
And right now they're in second place.
I know. 1-2 to Juan Francisco. Very close. Francisco held up, and the count is 2-2.
You know, that's one of Bob Melvin's finer traits. It just amazes me how he can continue to stay calm and collective. He never panics because he understands all the nuances of a game and how things can change so quickly.
Swing and a miss, a high fastball, and Scott Kazmir on his season-high 113th pitch strikes out Juan Francisco, and we have reached the 7th inning stretch from the Coliseum. A's are leading 3-1. He's trying to make it 3 in a row. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. Todd Redmond, 29-year-old right-hander, comes in. Redmond made 14 starts last year for the Blue Jays. This year, 20 games out of the bullpen. ERA a shade under 3. And it's our first look at Redmond in this series. Looks like a little 3-quarter delivery, huh, Shooty?
Yeah, not a lot of walks, but not a lot of strikeouts as well. A little trickeration in his approach as well.
There's the shift on for Cespedes on the infield, pretty much straight away and deep in the outfield. And that one is drilled to center. Rasmus into right center, and he's got it. 1 out. Mark Burley goes 6 innings, 10 hits, 3 runs. So Burley, who looking for that 11th win, and it's been elusive. He has not won since June 1st, and he's not going to get a win tonight. But we said when the game started, Shooty, that Mark Burley is a guy, he will give up a lot of hits. And tonight was the case. He ended up giving up the 3 runs. But A's had lots of base runners. A's stranded 8 against Burley in 6 innings. 1-0 to Donaldson. Adam Lind on the move. The adventure is on, and it falls. So Adam Lind, a DH type. And that's a tough play for any first baseman.
Well, we watched Encarnacion lead the game because of a pulled quad. It looks like Lynn might have a tight quad the way that he was galloping toward that foul ball. You know, you talked about Mark Burley and his inability to limit the damage. One asset that he has is that he's been able to get a lot of ground ball double plays when he does get runners on base.
This one hit well down the right field line, but foul.
But one problem that he had in this game is not being able to throw balls down below the knees. And when you're pitching up in the strike zone, you're not going to get a lot of ground balls. You're going to get a lot of fly balls, as evident in what the A's were able to do as far as elevating this stuff today.
1-2 to Donaldson. This one fisted foul as Redmond got in on Donaldson.
Glenn, you talk about Redmond being a starter last year and now in the bullpen. If you look at his arm action, this is not a natural arm action. This is a manufactured delivery. This is something that he's learned to try and help him create a little more movement on his fastball, perhaps some sink or some cut.
And Donaldson swings and misses. So a little late movement that time, and that's the second out. Time for our AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to CSNCA fan photo. Put your name down and your hometown for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's all brought to you by AT&T. And this is Moises and Catalina Miranda from Burbank, California. They sent in the picture, and we certainly appreciate that. So Norris hits with 2 outs here in the 7th inning. Norris 1 for 3. And a single in the 5th. He also struck out and hit a fly ball to right field. Bottom of the 6th down in Anaheim. Still 5-2 Astros. Like to keep a close eye on the Angels, see how they're doing.
I can recall last year having conversation with you, Glenn, and it was a little early on. You said, no, Shooty, it's too early to scoreboard watch.
Yeah.
Well,
4th of July is when I start watching.
4th of July. So starting yesterday.
That's right. And tomorrow I'm going to say 5th of July. Usually July. I think our fans like to see how that second place team is doing. Two pitch, fouled straight back.
Well, I will like to say this. I get an opportunity to travel all over the country in different ballparks and stadiums, and our people here at our out-of-town scoreboard does as great a job as anyone as far as keeping us updated on what's going on around the league.
That's a very good call. It's hand operated, and they do a great job. That's all you need to know. Just give me the score. See, 6th inning coming up. See that? They're changing it.
No guesswork there.
7th inning. And I can tell you that the 6th inning just ended in Anaheim, and those guys were on top of it. And a slider, and Norris missed it. So Todd Redmond out of the bullpen has a 3-up, 3rd-out inning, and we're moving to the 8th. 3-1 A's. Riverside, California is brought to you by Kelly Moore, proud sponsor of the Oakland A's. KellyMoore.com. Bring inspiration home. Beautiful night in the Bay Area, and the A's leading the Blue Jays 3-1. A's looking for their 54th win of the year. They're 20 games over 500. And when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and brake expert. So Luke Gregerson comes in. 7 very good innings from Scott Kazmir. So Gregerson takes over. He'll face Kawasaki, Reyes, and Cabrera. 9-1-2 for the Blue Jays. Kawasaki, a strikeout and a sacrifice. And the first pitch, fastball that sinks low.
Glenn, you alluded to how great the A's bullpen was yesterday. It'll be interesting to see how our great friend behind us, BA, gives us the information on when's the last time the A's had 3 relievers that were in the top 10 as far as pitching is concerned in the American League. They have been fantastic down there. You're talking about a closer, a middle guy, and an 8th inning guy.
Donaldson crashes in, and he caught it. Oh my goodness. Tarp catch 2 by Donaldson. Sensational. Wow. Holy smokes.
You say, oh my goodness, I say, oh my stars. Are you kidding me? Just to be able to run full speed there, knowing that aluminum big beam is down there waiting for you in your contact. Josh Donaldson doesn't hesitate and makes a tremendous play, as we've witnessed time and time again. Josh Donaldson, I mean, there is no fear in this young man's game. I mean, he takes that catcher's mentality everywhere out on the baseball field.
So 1 away, and here's Reyes. And Reyes bounces it right to Callaspo. 2 outs.
Wow.
I think it's worth a couple more looks.
Well, Glenn, what makes this play so impressive is that you have so far to go, and you have to go on a full-out sprint, and your instincts tell you that you know that a bad collision is coming, and most players will pull up there, but Josh Donaldson, there is no quit in his game.
No, he did not slow down at all. What a play by Donaldson, man. Melky Cabrera is 1 for 3.
You know, the Oakland A's fans have been blessed so much here to have such fine play at third base year in and year out.
Gentry on the move, but he's not going to be able to get it. He handles the kick away from him, and Cabrera has his second hit.
Carney Lansford, 6-time, 7-time Gold Glove winning Eric Chavez. And Josh Donaldson, clear out some room on your mantle, young man, because one day you will have one to put there.
Well, let's hope it's this year. He's going to be an all-star, and that's exciting. Yeah, this is a pretty good matchup here. Gregerson with the great slider, and he's facing the power-hitting Batista with a 2-run lead. And the first pitch is inside.
The power-hitting, angry Batista.
Yeah, he's not happy. And there's a shot fair. Headed down into the corner. Cabrera is headed for third, and he's going to be waved home. throw to the plate is in time. They got him. There's going to be an argument. Cabrera's arguing. Gibbons is out, and as you would expect, they're going to look at this one. Cabrera leaped up, and he said that he was safe. Norris put the tag on him, and we're going to check it out.
Well, I'm going to beg to differ here because I thought the A's did a tremendous job on the relay here, but I thought he got him before he got to the plate there.
It looks like the only question is, did he tag him? And one of our replays, I'm sure, will let us know whether he did or not.
This play is under review. Is presented by Samsung.
So that's the question. If he did tag him, I think he tagged him before, but the question is, did his glove get him?
I think they saw a view that we didn't see, Glenn, because it wasn't that clear. What do you say, Paul?
You talking about the fans?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They showed it up on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
The fans let out a big cheer.
I thought he got him, Glenn. But from that angle right there, and the umpire was in great position. I mean, he was in a spot where if he missed him, he should have been able to see some daylight there in that play. And that would be the only thing that would call him safe. But I thought he was in perfect position. Lowry made a tremendous throw on the relay there. Milky doesn't need confirmation. He was the runner. He knows if he's been tagged or not.
Well, this is going to come down to one of those of, is there a look that clearly shows Norris not making contact with Cabrera, and the original call on the field is out, and that may be what's the biggest thing in the A's favor.
This is the part of the game that you really love, don't you, Glenn? We've had this conversation.
I don't have a problem with the replay. I don't. I really don't.
You know, Bill Miller is an outstanding umpire. He's the crew chief. More times than none, he's going to get it right. The game is played so fast and at such a quick pace. The only way that you can make a play like this is with instant replay.
Yeah, they're sticking with the call. A huge play, and the call stands. So Cabrera thrown out at home, and it remains a 3-1 game. Here's our game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 1-5-0 for the Blue Jays, 3-10-0 for the Athletics. Both starting pitchers are out. And boy, the A's pitchers have really shut down a pretty good Blue Jays offense. Neither team has really had a whole lot of offense in this series. The A's have banged out 10 hits tonight, just the 3 runs. So the story has been pitching in this series. Melky Cabrera still can't believe that he was called out. And that was a huge play. New pitcher is Sergio Santos, and Fryman swings at the first pitch, and he hits one up the middle for a base hit. So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. So it is Sergio Santos. He's got good stuff. Injuries have been hard on him the last couple years. Remember, he was a closer for the White Sox for a little while.
And this is a young man that was drafted #1 by the Arizona Diamondbacks as a shortstop, and he's followed that tradition. Some pretty good guys that have moved into that position. Trevor Hoffman, one of the better ones.
So here's Lowry, who takes a pitch outside. Lowry single, and then a fly ball to center, and a fly ball to right. 1 for 3. Do a little warming up for the A's, so it's like the 9th will be his. It's just a matter of how big the A's lead is. Right now it's 3-1. There's a shot, right field, base hit, headed for the corner. Big Nate hits the bag at second, and they're going to wave him home, and the relay throw is over everybody, and Fryman's safe. Big Nate wheeling it all the way from first, and he scores on Lowry's double. Once they missed the cutoff man, Shooty, there was no chance they were going to throw out Fryman.
You're exactly right, Glenn. And what was an attribute for the A's to be able to complete the top half of the inning was an asset here for the Oakland A's and a detriment for Toronto. Big Nate gets a great secondary league, and he gets those long legs into motion, and he's not stopping. And Mike Gallego is waving all the way, but execution makes perfection. And what happened here is that they missed a cutoff man. Baseball 101, hit the cutoff man.
All right, so Santos faces 2 hitters, single, double, and the A's lead 4-1. Last 10 minutes is one team executing, the other not. Watch the A's hit the cutoff man.
Well, what
perfect.
You find Lowry going out deeper than what the Toronto Blue Jays infielder did, and that is the key, to make the outfielder get the ball to the infielder quickly so he can make the more accurate throw.
Now,
when you make a long throw like this, outfielders are known for having strong arms, not accurate arms, and when you don't execute this way, it costs you. Like you said, Glenn, That was a 2-run swing right there.
It was. So here's Callaspo. And Callaspo, speaking of execution, shoots one to the right side. Lowry to third with one out.
That is playing baseball right there.
Yep.
If the A's are going to be the team that they are assembled to be, they're making acquisitions to make the pitching staff stronger. They're coming up with timely hits. There will be times when you're facing the Verlanders and the Scherzers and the better pitchers of the world when you're not going to be that potent offensively. When you get an opportunity and you get a runner in scoring position, you have to do everything that you possibly can to give the next guy a chance to do his job. Keep the train moving.
So here's Vogt, who's had a terrific game, singled in the second, walked and scored in the fourth, singled again in the sixth. So his average now at 354. Trying to knock home a run. Lowry at third, infield in. And now 2-0.
The way that Vogt has been playing, I know the A's don't believe in bunting, but this guy finds a way to get it done. And when you've got a tough left-on-left situation here, it wouldn't surprise me at all, Stephen Vogt, to do anything to get that runner in.
This one's popped up foul. So Vogt facing the lefty Brett Cecil. Two-one pitch. Nice play by Lynn. He picked it on the short hop, and he steps on first. Very nice play by Adam Lynn.
That ball was drilled. Stephen Vogt does a great job of hanging in on a breaking ball here and getting out front a little bit, but Lynn, who didn't have much success on catching a pop-up, does a very good job of making a very good play on a hard-hit ball on the short hop. Keep that run at third base.
So here's Coco, 1 for 4 with an RBI single, and he takes a pitch that goes past the catcher, and Lowry scores. It just popped right off the tip of the glove of Navarro. So that is the A's 5th run. It's 5-1.
Hate to pick on a major league player here, but it looked like Navarro got a little laxed here on reaching up for a ball above his shoulders. Cecil ball has a tendency to kind of sail a little bit on him, and Navarro wasn't ready for that. Heads up base running right here. Lowry scores easily.
So 2 runs for the A's to extend their lead. David Freese has just hit a 2-run homer for the Angels, so it's now Houston 5, Angels 4. Angels still batting in the bottom of the 7th. See Abad now throwing, so Doolittle is not going to come in tonight. Ball's hit hard, but scooped up by Kawasaki. Side retired. A couple of runs and a couple of hits for the Athletics. So 9th inning coming up. It's 5-1. The A's lead. Time Jeff Samardzija arrived at the Coliseum just off the plane, coming in to check out his new home and check out the new clubhouse and his new teammate. So Jeff Samardzija in the house. Again, he arrived at the Coliseum right about 10 after 7. And he's going to make his A's debut tomorrow, and we're excited. It's going to be Drew Hutchinson, pretty good young right-hander against Samardzija. Our coverage starts at 12:30 on Comcast Sportsnet California. It'll be A's pregame live. And then the ball game at 1:05. That's the fourth and final game of this series. The Blue Jays and the A's. Jeff Samardzija will take the hill. So Abad comes in, and he's going to face Adam Lynn, leading off the top of the ninth inning. A's now with a 5-1 lead. It's time for a change. Think speedy oil change and tune-up, your oil change, tune-up, and brake expert. So Abad, appearance number 42. Good ERA. Just about a strikeout per inning. And this one's flipped foul. Sogard now in the game at second base for Cayaspo.
Glenn, you point out Abad's numbers. I mean, those numbers are as good or better than the majority of closers in the game today. That just shows you how deep this bullpen truly is.
Lynn fouls it. So Abad ahead of Lynn. And that one's hit in the air, foul. Donaldson. He's got it, 1 out.
A Honda player of the game tonight, no doubt. Scott Kazmir in total control tonight. Had all three of his pitches working. He was commanding, locating, and he was also disappointing. Disappointing, if you will, if you were a Toronto Blue Jay hitter. 1 up, 3 down.
So Kazmir 2 outs away from his 10th win of the year. First pitch to Navarro is low. Angels are at it again. Albert Pujols just hit a 2-run homer. Now the Angels have the lead, shooting 6-5.
That is a good ball club.
Yep.
I said it was going to be a dog fight in the American League West, and you've got 2 big dogs barking right now in Oakland and Anaheim.
Mariners won today. The Mariners tied the game in the top of the ninth and then won it in extra innings. 3-2 was the final in Chicago. So the Mariners win. Angels winning in the 7th. A's winning here in the 9th. Drive to left center. No problem for Gentry. 2 outs. So 2 away, and Kobe Rasmus steps in for his 4th at bat. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. The crowd tonight, 20,236. Get to their feet.
Kobe Rasmus.
Abad kicks, and the first pitch is a slider, and it's a good one.
Glenn, you talk about the Seattle Mariners. They sit up and look in front of them, and they see how good the Oakland A's and the Anaheim Angels are. They wake up this morning, and what do they find themselves? Even further behind because of the moves that they make.
So 1-1 the count. And the Blue Jays have lost 5 out of their last 7, and they have been struggling. Blue Jays a half game behind the Orioles. The Orioles lost today. Good pitch, fastball outside corner, 1-2. A's post game live coming up after the ball game. Lots and lots to talk about. Kate Longworth with a one-on-one conversation with Jeff Samardzija. Look forward to that. So keep it right here on Comcast Sportsnet California. Try to wrap up an A's win and then A's post-game live. Big shift on for Colby Rasmus. Abad kicks and the 2-2 pitch. Slider away, 3-2. That's Brad Glenn hoping to get a chance to hit, but as always, those 2 extra runs in the bottom of the 8th just make life so much easier. Fouled straight back.
Boy, Glenn, I was just marveling at Fernando's numbers. I mean, he's a bad boy.
You've been waiting to use that for 3 nights. And you waited to 3-2, 2 outs, 9th inning. Strike 3 called, and you are right on. Shooting Abad with a 3-up, 3-down inning. And just another solid victory for the Athletics. 5-1 is your final. So the A's have taken the first 3 games of the series. They are now 54 and 33 on the year. They continue to have the best record in all of baseball. Lots of heroes tonight. We're going to speak with one of them in just a moment. But Shooty, just, I don't ever want to say ho-hum, but the A's just roll along, and it's just a good, solid win with good pitching. And this is a good Toronto Blue Jays offense, and they have scored 2 runs against the A's in this 3-game series. 2 runs.
Well, that's it. Coming in, Toronto knew that they were up against a difficult challenge because you're facing one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. And one thing that the A's don't do is make a whole lot of mistakes. They play flawlessly defensively, and they come up with a lot of timely hits. And tonight, they were able to get to a very good pitcher. When you're talking about Mark Burley, a guy who leads the world in being able to create ground balls. Well, he got himself in trouble today, but he wasn't able to get the ball down in order to allow that to happen, and the A's took advantage of that.
So all around a good performance, and last month the A's went to Toronto, were swept in 3 games. Well, now the A's have a chance to finish off a 4-game sweep here at home over the Blue Jays, as they have won the first 3 games of the series. And it is amazing how good pitching can really make a good offense, a good lineup, look very average, and that's what we've seen.
Well, I think the one thing that you do, you don't judge a team about how well they're doing and how they act. You judge them on how they react to not playing well and how they handle adversity. This is a ball club that don't do a whole lot of panicking. They understand who they are and what they're capable of doing, and that's one thing that they do. They stay within themselves.
All right, Stephen Vogt is our guest downstairs. He was in right field tonight. He was 2 for 3, a couple of hits and a walk. And Stephen, first of all, we're trying not to say just another ho-hum win for the A's, but you guys are so good and so consistent, and you just always do the right things. We talked about hitting the cutoff man in the 8th inning and then the Blue Jays not doing it. You should be really proud of how well you guys play as a team, it seems like, each and every night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously this is such a fun team to be a part of, and fundamentally we're pretty sound. And what a great relay there it was with Gentry and Lowry. I mean, you can't say enough how big that play was for a number of reasons, but just strikes to everybody's chest, and Dino put a great tag there at the plate.
You know, you talk about, Stephen, how fun it is to play for this team. It is definitely a joy and a thrill and to watch you play. You've been able to overcome so many things this year, coming back to last year when you meant so much of this ball club. You get an opportunity now, and it seems like you're taking advantage of it every time. How does it feel to be Stephen Vogt today?
I mean, it feels pretty good. Life is outstanding right now. But, you know, it's great to just be back and to be a part of this team. I mean, this team is, I said it before, I can't say it enough. It's an honor to be in Oakland A and to be a part of this team and this clubhouse. Everybody pulls for each other, and there's no egos on this team, and I think that's why you see so much success on the field.
Well, you know what I'm excited about, Stephen? You got a couple of hits off a left-handed pitcher tonight. Tell us about facing Burley, and you know, you're fine against lefties. You just haven't had a whole lot of opportunities this year, but you got a couple knocks against him tonight.
Yeah, you know, he's so good at what he does. You know, he just moves the ball in and out, up and down, and everything looks the same coming out of his hand, and then it moves one way or the other. And, fortunately, I was able to get a couple infield hits. I think they traveled a total of probably 150 feet, but I'll take them. And, but he was good tonight, and we came with some timely hitting, and JD with the big homer to center to get us going. I mean, you just never know what we're going to do, and I think that's what also makes it so much fun.
Versatility is something that's added to your resume now. You've been known as a catcher, but now you play right field. Tomorrow you may show up at the yard, and you might be catching Jeff Samardzija. What's that feeling like, and how's that make your stomach feel?
It feels good. I mean, that's the thing. I come to the field every day not knowing which glove I need to put on, but I'm always ready for whatever Bob wants me to do, and I'm honored and thrilled to be a part of it and to be contributing the little way that I am.
Final question, Steven. Samardzija, he came in around the second or third inning, and you guys ran in, and I saw you guys saying hi to him. Did you get a chance to shake? Actually, you did shake his hand, and it looked like you apologized because you had some pine tar on your hand. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, I went in and introduced myself. He went for the handshake. He doesn't really know quite yet. You don't want to give me a handshake during the game. But, he'll learn fast. But, no, it was nice. He came in, seemed like he was fitting in right away, and we're excited to see what he's going to do for us down the stretch.
All right, it is exciting, and he's going to be on the hill tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, we are too.
All right, Steven, thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, so Steven Vogt covered it all. Versatility, gets a couple of hits against the left-hander. He gets to shake the new guy's hand, and all in all, a good performance by Steven Vogt. And it's incredible how valuable he has been. First base, right field, left field, catch. And he looks pretty comfortable in all these positions. On top of that, he's hitting .350.
Well, he's a pretty good athlete, and you wouldn't know that by looking at him because he's such a strong, stocky-built guy. But whatever Bob Melvin has presented to him, he's been able to handle it and run with it. And when you have three catchers on your roster that have the type of flexibility that they do, I mean, it only enhances yourself to do a lot more things in your lineup.
All right, so the A's win it tonight 5-1. We're excited about tomorrow. Jeff Samardzija is going to take the hill for the Athletics, his first start as an A. Final score tonight from the Coliseum: A's 5, Blue Jays 1. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California. Don't go away. A's Post Game Live is coming up right after the break.